This is Mouth Media Network, the business of being heard.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Funny People Talking. I am one of your hosts, Marc Rako. Welcome to the show. This hopefully is our last week of looking at the Wayback Machine, looking at old shows, great shows from Monkey Radio, the predecessor to Funny People Talking. We hope you've been enjoying this look back into the past. We hope to have brand new episodes of Funny People Talking coming up as soon as next week when we get back into the rhythm. So look forward to that. But this episode is a fun one. I hope you'll really enjoy it. So I'm joined again by my prior co-host Ben Rose, who does a great job, and Elsie, of course, with End of Show Food. And our guest is comedian Maija DiGiorgio. Maija has just exploded onto the comedy scene. She has performed at legendary venues from the Beacon Theater to the Apollo to hundreds of top comedy clubs, festivals, military bases around the world. But she has performed on many television shows, from Comics Unleashed to Def Comedy Jam to Sex and the City, BET, and more. She made her mark in radio when she co-hosted the #1 morning show in the country. Basically, she's incredibly funny, incredibly talented, and she joined us on Monkey Radio several years ago. So I'm sure, a lot has changed since then, but it was still a wonderful visit. So we'll see you next week for a brand new episode. But for now, enjoy this great, fun, archived episode with Maija DiGiorgio and my co-host, Ben Rose. Thanks for listening.
What kind of radio swings through the trees, has fleas and dirt on its knees? Monkey Radio, yeah, Monkey Radio. What kind of radio in charge of the world would give a banana to every boy and girl? Monkey Radio, ooh, Monkey Radio. With Funky Elsie and Monkey Marc, I'd rather walk through Central Park in the dark than listen to one transmission of Monkey Radio. That's just simply not true.
They sure work hard, don't they, Bonnie? Yeah? I hate to see them work so hard. Yeah, me too. Let's go around back where we can't see them.
Hello? I'm about to do you a big favor.
From the Monkey Radio Studio in New York City. And with more than 350,000 downloads worldwide, this is Monkey Radio.
I'm gonna make a list, I'm gonna be a hit, I'm gonna live for it. So proud of it, just wanna get it right.
Welcome to the show, my fellow monkeys! Today is Outlaw Day, Ben. You'll hear more soon. I am Marc.
Ben.
Well, what do you know? You are indeed. A huge, overstuffed, should be illegal show today. We'll catch up on what's going on in the world of our co-host, Ben. A little dose of Ben's World. The premiere of a new game, The Real Story, with our take on current events. And we are excited for our guest today. Let me tell you, she is an actress, comedian, film director. She's received standing ovations at Showtime at the Apollo. She was co-host of New York City's #1 morning show. She tours the country as one of the top-rated female comedians, and is producing and starring in a new feature film. And by the way, I'm cast in this film, and I'm going to ask her about that. And she's president of Hollywood Outlaws Comedy Network. Maija DiGiorgio will be on the show. Amazing. Wow. Yeah. And of course, we also have an end of show food. Elsie will share something that has not always been legal. Yeah, she says it involves a monkey. Stay tuned for that.
Monkey urine.
All this on one show, Ben. What a value. Can you believe it?
Make sure to follow us on Instagram at Funny People Talking and Elsie at Elsie the Producer.
And please, for the love of all that is holy,
subscribe to the show and leave us a damn review and a really, really good rating on iTunes. Pretty please? Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, this is Marc.
Ben. Now, today I wanted to talk about Ben's World. Right? Start a little feature, Ben's World. You know, we can even have a little jingle. You know, it's Ben's World, it's Ben's World. I mean,
You should do it. That's fine.
You like that?
Yeah, I like that.
All right, let's do that. Ready?
Okay. No, you do it.
Oh, why? You don't.
No, because if I do it, it's like, yeah, you have to listen to this.
That's why it's so funny.
Like you're doing it.
All right. Well, I'm not doing it again.
We'll do it different every week. How about that? Or whenever we do it. It's like,
We're not doing Ben's World every week.
what the hell?
All right. All kidding aside, you were kind of late to the studio today.
Yes, I was.
You were like in a huff and hurry.
I was in a huff and hurry.
All right. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that phrase.
I like that too. A huff and hurry.
Huff and hurry. I just made that up.
That's good.
I mean, I don't know if I'm literally the first person on planet Earth
But still,
to
that's
ever
good.
say that.
You
but
might be.
I never heard of someone
I'm
say
in
that.
a huff and hurry.
Yeah. It sounds like you're swearing, but you're not. It's
I like
grammatically correct.
Yeah. Huff.
All right. So you were in a hurry.
Yeah.
This is going to be Ben's World today because I have this strange feeling something is up.
Well, I was on my way to the studio and I got stopped by the police at the subway just to check the bag.
You got stopped by the police?
Yeah, which it's not a big deal, but it was a little weird because I'm not exactly the kind of shady looking character one would look for. So this cop says, "Excuse me, sir, come right over here."
Huh?
And so I walk over and I said, "What's the problem?" He's like, "What's in the bag?" And I'm like, and you'd think that'd be an easy question to answer.
It's a machine gun. Duh.
Right. But like all I'm thinking is like, all right, well, what? I'm like, all right, there's protein in it and there's a hat in it and there's an umbrella. And I'm thinking like, what the hell kind of question is that to ask me in the first place? And I kind of stayed there mentally in that like, what the hell thing. And so I was like, I don't know my things. And he's like, what exactly what are the contents of the bag? And I said, there's an umbrella and a shirt. He said, open the bag. And I'm like, okay, this guy's a and he was young. So I opened the bag and I have protein powder in there in a little Ziploc bag. And
by the way, you're just like clear profiling because you're the guy we're looking for.
Right. Yeah.
Just by
I
your
know.
appearance, just so obvious. It's like, hey, that guy, he's going to be trouble.
Yeah, I'm a real instigator of problems. So he finds protein powder, and for those of you who take protein powder, for those of you who don't, protein powder can look like drugs very easily because it's just powder, and powder can lead to people thinking it's Coke or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "What's this?" And I'm like, "It's protein." He's like, and so he opened it. And I'm like, "Well, now I can't." Now and all I thought I was like, "Great, now I just wasted my protein." I'm like, I don't care about anything else. Like now I got to do another thing of protein. So,
well, that stuff's
it's not cheap,
entirely inexpensive either.
Right? Yeah.
So.
I'm like, son of a donkey. So, he's like, well, this looks suspicious. And I said, well, it's protein. I can make it right now and drink it. He's like, sir, please. And just getting all up in my face. And then this other cop walks over and he's like, what's going on over here? And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, I'm just calling search. He's like, he looks at me. He's like, get out of here. What are you doing? Get out of here. Like, stop wasting our time. And I'm like, stop wasting your And so I walked, and that was it. And that's why I was late. But I was like, it's so unnecessary to have gone through what I went through for nothing.
They're just, oh my God. I mean, who knows what's going on, but
right.
It sounds like it might have been a newbie.
Yeah.
Like
a
acting
new cop.
out, like, I'm all tough today.
Yeah, like, oh, today I wore my strong pants. You know. So, I don't know.
My strong pants.
I don't know.
That's another phrase I never heard. My strong pants.
Yeah. So that's why I was late. Strong pants? Not like, what was it? Huff and
hurry.
A huff and hurry. Not like a huff and hurry.
That's right. Oh my gosh. All right. So,
Just a pain in the ass.
That's terrible.
It was terrible.
Have you ever been, shall we say, accosted by the Polizei before?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Can you think of another time?
Actually, this is a funny story. This is back in California. I was walking with a friend at the time, and he and I, it was probably just maybe around midnight, just walking down the street, just walking and talking. We went on walks, we talk, we hang out. And all of a sudden, this car just drives past us and slams on its brakes and just puts the car in reverse and comes flying back, like flying. Smoke spun the tires, and this guy gets out, and he's like, "What are you guys doing out here?" And we're like, "We're on a walk." And so it's this douche cop undercover on some, it could have been on crack. I mean, he was just out of his mind. Just like,
what he was on protein powder.
Maybe he was. Good call. And he's like, "What are you doing?" And accosted us. And he's like, "Do you have an ID?" We're like, "No, because we're on a walk and we left it at home and we live around the corner." He's like, "Well, don't let me see you out here again." And I was like, well, actually, I'm 18 and it's okay. And that probably wasn't the right thing to say. He's like, "What did you say?" And I said, "Well, I'm of legal age. I can go wherever I want, whenever I want." And he's like, "Son, you know who you're speaking to. Where do you live?" And I said, "Around the corner." And he's like, "Well, it's a good thing that you're not doing anything illegal." I forgot what he said. Something like, you're not in trouble or doing something. Just so unnecessary. So, but I've had some good experiences with cops too. I'm sure we all have. But just so rude. I know this has only happened to me. I'm sure this happens to a great majority of people. But it doesn't mean it's right.
No, it's unfortunate. I know that cops they've got a lot of pressures on them that we can't possibly, fathom. And I
support 100%.
No, I'm with you. I mean, all I can tell you is I've seen some stuff too that's just crazy, but I guess I'd rather have them around with that than not have them around.
Right, yeah.
I've seen them do some amazing stuff too,
yeah.
So
it goes both ways for sure.
It goes both ways, but that's uncalled for. I mean,
yes.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and then you see them let things go.
Yeah, it's like jaywalking, which I do appreciate.
Well, like recently, I was seeing these motorcyclists driving all around, and they they're without helmets and they're tearing up the streets and almost hitting you and going the wrong way. You've seen them before, where they've got the motorcycles and they're like,
it's so annoying.
Anyway, so I go up and there happens to be some cops there in a van, and I say, "Hey, so are you like a gum junkie?"
Yeah, I do like a lot of gum. I'm sorry.
I don't care.
I'm sorry.
No. I wasn't telling you not to chew it, but in the course of our show, you put like 4 or 5 pieces in your mouth.
I will go through probably a pack to 2 packs a day.
Really?
Yeah. And I have never smoked or anything like that.
No, I'm not judging. I was just like,
I just like my gum.
Okay, I'll cut that out. But I was just...
What, the gum song?
Yeah. No, I don't want to cut the gum song.
I like the gum song.
Do you like the gum song?
Yeah.
Should I keep this in the show?
Yeah, I should open the show with, I just like my gum.
Okay, I will.
Okay.
It'll just be randomly in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
like a roar of a tiger.
Oh, okay. With a roar of... Oh, you mean like in the beginning?
Yeah, I just like my gum.
Okay.
and I don't know, something else. It's nonsensical, I know, but it's just in my mind right now. That was really funny.
You know it's going to be really? You going raw, right?
Yeah, I better do that. All right, folks, you're going to hear us do a recording for the future. Ready? Roar. That's good, right?
So you're going to be... So it's going to be like, I just like my gum. Roar.
I don't like that. No, let's try that again. I just like my gum. Roar. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Roar. I don't want to have to like select from all the takes. Can you just give me one take?
Sure, here's another one.
The whole thing. Roar. No, with the gum.
Oh, God.
Come on, Ben.
All right. I just like my gum. Roar.
Okay.
And it all makes sense.
Oh, my God. Oh, boy, the entertainment we offer on this show.
My gum. All right, sorry. All right, let's move on.
So, I don't even know what we're talking about. Cops or something.
Yes, police.
Police, what were we talking about?
Letting them get away with things.
Yeah. I don't know. I had a story, but I don't remember what it was.
Sending them motorcycles.
Oh, yeah, thanks. So,
damn it.
I was almost ready to move on to another segment. You and your memory. So I walk up to the cops and I'm like, hey, these guys are doing it. And they almost hit me and they almost hit a car and blah, blah, blah. And the cop's like, yeah, we can't do anything about it.
Yeah, I know. That's like, what does that answer mean?
And I'm like, what? And they're
Yes.
like, well, until he kills you,
right?
If he kills someone, this is it. If they kill someone, then we can try to do something. But the risk of making Chase isn't worth it to the public. Blah blah blah.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, I'll tell you what. When they kill me, I'll come back from the dead and inform you so you can go arrest him.
Right. When I first moved out here, part of my first stand-up routine, I had a joke because every time. Now, look, I don't want to say I complain a lot, but if I saw something happening that was wrong, I would tell a cop. And I would say more times than not, the response you get is, yeah, I can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
And it's like so funny, but you're like, what? That building is on fire. Yeah, I know, but I'm all the way over here, and that's just like a block.
Do you know, seriously, a lot of times what it really is, they don't want to do the paperwork.
Really?
Yes.
Well, from the cops I've seen in New York, I think a few of them could go on a diet.
Granted, that's a generalization, folks, and not true of all our fine police officers.
Of course, we'll just cut that entirely now.
No, I wasn't. All right, so that was Ben's world.
Yeah, I hope.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy, illegal, nearly cuffed and taken away, not making the show world.
Gum fun.
Okay. Let's move on to our next part of the show, which is, Ben.
Yeah?
A new game.
Oh.
Okay,
I'm
then.
sorry. It's been one of those days.
All right, so, so here's the new game.
Okay.
The new game is called The Real Story. With our take on current events. Here's the way that it works.
Okay.
So what we do is we take a real news story and we insert some words into it, kind of like Mad Libs.
Okay.
All right. And then it becomes an entirely new story.
Let's do it.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the kind of words you need to give me, and then you give me the word back.
Okay.
All right. Let's try this.
Let's go.
A verb ending in ing.
Going.
A noun.
Person.
A person. Name. A person's name.
Zachary.
An adjective.
Sailed. Is that an adjective?
That's not an adjective.
That's not an
That's
adjective.
a verb.
Yes. Oh God.
I guess hypothetically that could be an adjective, but
right.
It's not a commonly used one.
How about
Come on, rapid fire here, Ben.
Plate.
What is it?
Plate.
Plate?
Yeah.
That's a noun.
No. Is it?
Plate?
There's many different meanings for plate.
Oh my
How about plating? Or plated?
Okay. That's really a strange adjective. Okay. A noun.
Scissors.
And another noun.
Tea kettle.
Okay. And a person's name.
Philip.
A number.
4.
No. Make it a number over 1,000.
44,000.
A noun.
Pipe.
And a adjective.
Cleaners.
That's a noun.
Cleaned.
That's a verb.
Climbing. Climbed. Clung.
Are you unaware what an adjective is?
Clearly I'm not.
It's a descriptive thing.
Yes.
Like describing something like...
Climbing.
No. That's... No. Like the red balloon. Red is the adjective.
Yes. Have you ever been climbing before?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Red.
Fine.
No, red.
Okay, fine. Red. God, I didn't know how hard this was going to be.
New games are complicated.
This is not about new games. This is like old grammatical things. And plural noun, and then we're done.
What?
Plural noun, and then we're done.
Cheerios. cereals.
No, Cheerios is fine.
Okay.
Okay. Assuming that there's any audience left to listen to this at this point, the title of this is The 117 Men Who Will Choose the Next Pope.
Oh boy, this sounds like a fun one.
All right, ready?
Let's go.
In going an office with an aura of divinity into person far more human, Zachary's decision has sent shockwave through the Vatican hierarchy, who next month will elect a successor, but it has also puzzled and plated and scholars who wonder how a pope can be infallible one scissors and fallible again the next, and whether that might undermine the authority of tea kettle teaching. Philip stunned the world last week when he said that he would retire on February 44,000, a decision he said he had made in full liberty and for the good of the pipe. Even as the Vatican has tried to play down the confusion, saying the canon law provides for a rev transfer of power. If a pope resigns, the Cheerios of Benedict's act remain unclear.
And you were worried about grammatics?
I know.
Really? See what happens when you don't follow the rules of Mad Libs? It's more fun. It is, right?
Yes.
None of that made sense, but at the same time, that was much funnier because it stays normal for a while, and then it gets a little, what happened?
Yeah.
Then it goes right back to normal with scissors.
I have to honestly say, normally when we play a game, there's another round. Sometimes we go through a second round of both of us. I feel like that was such a miserable failure. I have no desire to do it.
I gave up after I said the last whatever to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not even entirely sure this will make the show. So if you're hearing it, it did, but only because we needed added content. To make the
so
full
you
show.
better enjoy it.
Okay. That was the real story.
In a way.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is it for that game, but we are going to move on, sir,
to
our interview.
Lovely.
Yes. Which is brought to you by the Monkey Radio with Marc Amazon page. Folks, if you shop on Amazon, you can still shop on Amazon, but instead of going directly to Amazon, go to monkeyradio.info and click the Amazon banner on our front page of monkeyradio.info, and you will go to Amazon from there. Guess what that does? You don't pay a penny more.
What?
Than you would have paid otherwise.
Oh.
But some of that money helps monetize Monkey Radio, keep us on the air.
Come on, folks.
Bring you great interviews like we are about to have. See, I'm a future teller. I can tell it's going to be a great interview.
You are a future teller.
I am.
I like that.
You know what else I can tell for the future?
What's that?
Our audience is going to go to monkeyradio.info and they are going to click the Amazon banner and go to the Amazon page and save
ghosts
and not pay a penny more.
Wow.
And help us. See
Beautiful.
how that works?
Support.
All right. So our interview. Man, I can't believe we got this great lady on the show.
I'm excited.
We are excited for our guest today. She is an actress, comedian, film director. She's received standing ovations at Showtime at the Apollo. She was co-host of New York City's #1 morning show. She tours the country as one of the top-rated female comedians and is producing and starring in a new feature film following her documentary Bitter Jester. And by the way, like I said before, I'm guest in this film. She is president of Hollywood Outlaws Comedy Network and has a lot of big things in the work. We're going to find out all about that, about her, and about all of the things that make Maija DiGiorgio. So here she is. Elsie, do we have her on the phone?
Thank you. I was set up.
She was.
The words that were thrown at me. There was no way I can get out of that.
It's really not fair. That's right. Oh, man, you're in trouble with Ben now. All right, well, she's like,
sorry, Ben. I had
hey, Ben.
You were just a victim.
Okay. Remember that? The first time. Remember that whole entrepreneurial thing that Maija's doing and the team she's building and everything like that? Yeah, you're not on it.
Well,
so,
he's just not handing out props. He's not going to be on the prop list, you know?
You know what?
All right. Maija DiGiorgio, everybody, a brilliant woman and filmmaker, comedian, writer, entrepreneur, and
go to HollywoodOutlaws.com and then get a Roku or go to Android TV, Google TV, just the Google Play Store and get Hollywood Outlaw Comedy Network.
The Hollywood Outlaw Comedy Network at HollywoodOutlaw.com.
Network. And you can, and HollywoodOutlaws.com, and you can, like I said, go to Google Play, or if you have a Roku, go check us out.
I feel like the Roku is something that comes to life in the middle of the night. It's like, oh, did you feed the Roku? No.
You need to know. If you don't know what a Roku is, you got to go get one. They are the hottest thing in internet television.
Is it anything
They're
as
selling
what
like crazy?
Anything is what I just described.
No, I think it's the wave of the
It does
future.
come to life in the middle of the night and ask for food?
It's the wave of the future. Look it up. Roku.
It's Roku.
Two words you can remember. Roku and Hollywood Outlaw.
By the way, Ben, do you remember? Did you notice how poorly Maija executed our story, but how excellently she executed her plugs?
Yes, because I'm not a story writer.
I know.
I'll write a screenplay, but who's got the time for that?
I know. So, no, all kidding aside, it was a truly genuine pleasure having you on the show.
Yes,
Thanks for taking the time, Maija, really. The world you lived in?
Yeah, I mean, I actually started off, singing and dancing and playing drums, and so more musical theater. And then, which is where my family was based, more out of like musical theater. And then I got into comedy. But I did some filmmaking, but comedy I just saw an open window and just kind of fell into it. So
well, comedy's a pretty complex thing to just sort of got into comedy. How did that happen? What was the thought process that made you take that first step?
I had a lot of characters, and a friend of mine who did a couple films, he was encouraging me to do a one-person show, so I was working on the material. And the guy who was helping me, it turned out his brother was the executive producer for Letterman. So he said, why don't you go over to the comedy clubs and try working it out? So the first time I went on, I had a great show. The second time I went on, I bombed. Third time I went on, I bombed. Fourth time I went on, I bombed. I couldn't figure out why I had a good show, and then kind of became obsessed with the process.
I understand that. I tried my hand at stand-up comedy a little bit, and I had kind of the same experience. The difference is I didn't kind of focus on it and keep with it. I think I succumbed to the process being one I wasn't as interested in as you, and so I really salute you for sticking with it. Are you so what would you say is the thing that you most enjoy about being on stage? And what I mean by that is when is it worth it?
It's worth it when I'm laughing. When I'm laughing. Otherwise, it's worth it when you get a nice check. But no, even the check isn't worth it. It's usually when the audience is having a good enough time that I'm having a good enough time. So.
Is that what happens? They become infectious to you, and you realize that your material is funny.
Once they're having a good time, and you start to enjoy making them laugh, and the focus is off yourself, then next thing you know, it's just like hanging out with your friends.
Now, you've been on the road a lot over the years.
Enough. Yep.
Enough. What is that like for you? It's a big question.
I like to travel. I like to travel, so it doesn't bother me. I like the idea of moving around a lot, but some of the gigs are kind of rough. Some of the places are a little creepy. So, it depends on who the promoter is when you roll in. Sometimes they can make it real comfortable, or sometimes they can make it a nightmare. So,
can you offer an illustration of that?
Of the nightmare?
Sure, that's more fun than the illustration of the nightmare is more fun. So,
driving 19 hours to get to a gig that's supposed to be somewhere and it's not, and you get stuck in a snowstorm, and then you get there and the promoter shorts you money, but then still wants to shows up at your hotel to bang on the door to try to hit on you in the middle of the night, and you're in this creepy hotel room by yourself with like a thin door, and you can hear them banging, and you're just like putting the chair up against the door. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Who hasn't that happened to? Come on. And then at a certain point you got into radio.
Yeah.
How'd that happen?
That was an accident too. I was asleep on my couch, and I got a phone call from a radio station, Hot 97 in New York, and they asked me if I wanted to be on their morning show, and I thought I won a contest, I wasn't really clear of what they wanted, and they just said, "Do you have a manager?" So then they brought me over and ran me for a few different tests, and then I ended up on the morning show with Ed Lover. So that was a wonderful nightmare, but it's okay. I got the lawsuit money. But that's hip hop.
Yeah, but how did that happen though? I mean, how does that just? I mean, they were just aware of you and said, "Hey, we have a slot to fill."
Yeah.
And
Well, no, you know what they I had built enough reputation that they kind of were looking for me, so they went through some people that I went to high school with, and actually found me through there and got my phone number, and then called me, and then I went in and I just they said, "Are you the same girl who was doing this show and that show?" I said, "Yeah," and then they tested me out, and I did well. So they asked me if I could do a few things when I was on the station, like beat up their host verbally. And so, yeah, that wasn't too much work, and then he didn't appreciate it, so it became an ongoing battle between all three of us who was going to win. So it was interesting. But I enjoyed it.
And then
I sued them.
yeah, really. Oh my gosh. Wow. And then so you moved on from there.
Yeah.
We'll transition. We'll segue in that manner. And then, magically, like sorcery, you were somewhere else. And then what was the next thing that happened for you? Did you just kind of dive back into stand-up after that?
I started to, but I hated it. So I did, I started doing a one-person show for a while, which I am starting back up. And then I had made an independent film that we got the last appearance of Richard Pryor and George Carlin and Ray Romano and Chevy Chase, Whoopi Goldberg, Phyllis Diller, Peter Boyle, 8,000 comedians that we had. And we had everybody in this film. And we had the largest selling screening at Tribeca, and we had gotten it out to a lot of festivals, and we had it sold for a theatrical release. And then they shut my film down. It's like stop and start. This business is really a nightmare. So if you're wondering how to be a comedian, at least you have a sense of humor. By the time they're done with you can still get up and laugh and make other people laugh. I guess that's the triumph.
That's oh my gosh! It's like it's funny because someone has a one woman show, and they may not want to really be that one person.
Oh, that was actually a pleasure, and it turns out that it worked out though, because my film was shut down over a scandal that happened as a few years back, that Richard Pryor was being abused by his third wife that came back to be his caregiver. So she came back, and there was this whole big case with Adult Protective Services, and his kids were trying to get him out the house, and it went on for years, and my film happened to be the last footage shot in his house, and I had like 4 hours. So, that was a nice nightmare. And I eventually got the film back, but then I was just too tired to do anything with it. So I kind of been back to stand-up, and I'm working on a channel for Roku and for Google Television right now.
Wow.
So,
tell us, can you say anything more about that at this point?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I created, when the film was shut down, I created the film, I recreated the film, did a full edit of it. It's called Hollywood Outlaw. It tells the story of how the film was shut down and why. And then I created an internet radio station, and from there I branched into internet television. So I got numerous comedians that we've created original content for. At the same time, I'm using, I have about 400 hours of outtakes from these interviews that I never got to use because I shot so much footage.
Wow.
So it's going to be the Hollywood Outlaw Comedy Network, and it should be launching in the next couple weeks. I think Google TV might be by the middle of next week. And and the Roku is the hottest internet television box. So we're launching there. So I'm excited about that. And then we're launching a sideline channel as well, which is kind of the making of the whole Hollywood network and being on the road. And that's the adventures, Maija's adventures in comedy. Just something simple.
Yeah, I think that's fascinating. I have to tell you, one of the reasons that I really wanted to have you on the show isn't just your accomplishments as a comic and you know, as an actress and a filmmaker and so forth, but you really strike me as an entrepreneur. And you know, I don't mean to size you up because, you know, I'm not in your head, but you strike me as an entrepreneur, and comedy is your widget. And you really have found a way to go to another level with it in a different direction. One of the things that really interested me was the kind of activism aspect to your career. Can you talk more about that? How that has entered into your world?
Well, I think the biggest thing was, you know, when I was making my film, I kept running into a bunch of walls, and the premise was more of my question as a comedian, you know, why would I continue to do comedy? How do I fit? Because I'm a mixed kid. My mother's black, my father's Italian. I never really fit in. Hollywood always wants something very simple. They don't want something that's a little confusing. So if you don't look instantly identifiable, they don't really know how to place you. I'm kind of, as a woman being a comedian, which is more of a loudmouth and demure and quiet. So you're always like, I never fit the path. So that was kind of the catalyst for the documentary, and each person I spoke to had some advice for it. But the key person that I spoke to, that I interviewed, was Whoopi Goldberg. And one of the things she had said to me that, you know, my people's approval of me, you know, when I get on stage and caring about what people think in all my projects and caring about what, you know, what Hollywood thinks, she was saying that it doesn't matter so long as what I'm doing means enough. If it means enough to me, what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to say, then what other people's opinions aren't going to matter. And I'll continue down that road. But it has to, but if you also have to understand that there's paying a price for being an individual. And if you're willing to pay the price, and this is a quote, she said, if you're willing to pay the price of being an individual, then you know, you'll be fine. If you don't, then you got to cop to the crowd. Actually, she does the interview. You can go to HollywoodOutlaws.com and you can see the film is actually there, as well as it will be on the channels. And I think that it took me a long time to understand what she meant by finding something, having something to say that means enough. And for a long time, I thought it was, you know, just, you know, jokes about my family or jokes about relationships. And I think, and I've always been more of a Republican, and I've always been a libertarian Republican. And then I started watching, I remember watching Hillary and Obama debate. And I started to be able to personally identify with a lot of the trauma that I've been through in my career, and dealing with people was, you know, playing out on the screen, both, for Hillary as a woman and for Obama as being, you know, biracial. So I just became fascinated with watching both of them, because it was personal to me. I started to like watch and see how people reacted to them and how they would twist their words. And I ended up becoming, you know, I'm not a Democrat, I'm an independent, but because of what I've seen and how I've seen people's responses to them, that I felt, as though I wanted to say something as the country has gotten really crazy. And it kind of ties into my personal themes and my personal journey when I talk about what I see happening in the country and people's reactions, not to a specific policy, but something that has been blown out of proportion, by being able to twist people on a simple scare tactic that's been going on for hundreds of years. And you know, and it's a communication barrier. And I see it because I see it in my own family. I see it between, you know, my mom's side of the family and my dad's side of the family. They just happen to fall on the sides of race. And and my own identity is, for some reason, which I didn't think it would as much, but it ties into all of it. And there's so much that ties into politics and identity and relationships and the way, you know, all those things played into my home environment. And so when I started to go from that angle about where it places bigger in the world and what I'm seeing, and I could then go back into my own personal experience to back it up and explain why I see it the way I see it, then it started to mean enough to me. Because I thought the people need to be more aware. And then I didn't care if somebody didn't understand what I was talking about specifically because they didn't watch the news or they didn't agree with me. It just made me go back and challenge myself more to say, okay, well, how do I draw this picture to them? What metaphors and what stories can I twist around this topic so that they will see it from their perspective? So it just made me do more homework, and I kind of lost the sight, like the idea of kind of myself and my own approval by people, because I felt I was part of something bigger, of an idea that was a lot bigger than me. But it was shaped, but my identity being shaped by our environment.
So some of this seems to have come into play with one of your new projects, which we touched on earlier in the interview, the film that you're in the process of now, Famika versus the Tea Party.
Yeah. And, which I'm really enjoying the footage of personally. It's been coming off so funny. What I've done is I kept this opportunity with Roku has come out of left field, so I kind of I want to use that to also help platform the project as well. But it's at the point now where comedy is about something that means something to me. Really bring me to a different level. I remember being stressed out a couple of weeks ago about you get stressed out about your life and all these different challenges that you face. And I turned on the TV and I saw this film that was made in the 90s called Citizen Ruth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever seen it with Laura Dern. And
yeah,
it was, and I laughed so hard, and it was such the topic was, that abortion and anti-abortionists, and they all come together, and she's kind of the victim in the middle of their protests on either side. It's not about her anymore. It's about their stance. And, that took my mind off of so much, that was just something as simple of, how is this going to work? I'm going to get a plane flight to this one. Who messed me up on this schedule? And it was stuff that had nothing to do with what I was watching, but it just made me laugh out loud because it was important, it was meaningful, it was thoughtful, and it was just funny. It was just a great film, and that's something that I think inspires me. And when it comes to something like Famika versus the Tea Party, I sat down with the script. One of my biggest fears was, not getting it done before this last election. But one of the things that the Tea Party seems to have rolled on every day I turn on the news, and they're still there. And so I'm sad to see it still so much a part of American politics, but I'm very happy at the same time.
Well, the beauty of filmmaking, is you can stage these things even in the past, as if it was an event that happened.
It's an impeachment plot anyway, so.
Yeah, exactly. So it still works for 4 more years.
Yeah, exactly. The next 4 years.
How did Famika, out of all of your characters, why was that the character that you chose to pursue this political, I don't want to say agenda, but path? And the messages that are in this film, why Famika specifically, and why did you decide to say, out of all of your characters, this is the one that I should be making a feature film in, and cashing in on some of the relationships that I've made over time, as well as obviously the financial investment?
Well, I think that this was a character that I've had for a long time. And basically it's such a character that people like so much that I've actually performed her on stage and, always she has so much of a life of her own. I've written scripts on this character for a very long time and had, some of the top agencies behind it. On my previous script that I had done with it, which was a clerical error, snagged it from the major studios, screwed it up. Somebody sent it out without 50 pages missing out of the middle, and it was like a major agency. So I kind of never went back to touch the script. Mm-hmm. And, but I was using the character on Hot 97, and the following was so fast. I mean, people were calling into this character within the next, day one I did the character, and then people were calling and looking for the character the next 2 days. In fact, the first review they did, they covered this character. And it was only like a quick couple seconds appearance because I was doing myself, and then I would, pretend she was the secretary. So I wanted to make the film for Famika because I always felt that was going to be my A game. But I didn't ever think I'd be making a political comedy because I was never into politics that much. Especially the world of hip-hop never trickled into comedy, and she's a character that fits in that world. But the world's, the reason I like the character so much for this script is it gives her an opportunity to learn about what's happening and to learn that what really is going on around us is very important. And this is a character that has just never paid attention to what was going on around her. She was always very completely self-involved in, trying to blow up and be famous and do her thing. And and what she learned through the film is, it matters, but it takes a lot to get there. And Obama has been the catalyst for that with everybody I know in the black community and hip hop community. Everyone's getting involved, and people weren't getting involved back when hip hop was political in its beginnings. But when it became mainstream, and I learned this from Hot 97 when we were there, when it went mainstream, it totally switched. And anyone who had really something to say wasn't the priority. They were encouraged to be darker and dirtier. It was selected by the people who were running the station. So our demographic was, I think it was like 12 to 16 around there, between 8 to 12, 16 around that age. And, our guest hosts were, Pimp Magic Don Juan talking about how to, turn women out. That was our morning show. And the songs that were on were very, very violent. And it wasn't like, when I came up and there was like a punk rock phase or this and that, it's one thing to do punk rock. It's another thing to be, there was always their dirty music in rock music and any form of music, but they usually played it at midnight, or you'd have to get it somewhere else. They didn't play it in the morning when you're getting ready for school. And what it was doing was, it's like socially colors, the way people are doing things. And it affects a lot of these kids. And so that whole community that came with that second wave of hip hop, as opposed to the first wave, was pushing against a lot of healthy ideas. And it comes from the corporations. And Famika is definitely a victim of that. She's one of the people who's tied into it. And, but when Obama got into the limelight, it changed the way people wanted to do things. It really did. I think, I could look at my young cousin who didn't really care about going out to vote at all, racing down to the polls to make sure that he got his vote in, and so proud of himself, and you drove through the neighborhood. I was in Washington, D.C., in Northeast D.C., which is, it's a little bit rough neighborhood, and these young men were out in the streets feeling like they could accomplish something, feeling like, I could be a senator. It can happen. The bar is lifted. I can go as far as I want.
It really is an amazing thing. No matter what a person's political belief is, no matter what their ethnicity may be, on the day that Obama was first elected, at that time I was living in the Harlem, Washington Heights area, and I remember even here, just people were out in the streets just celebrating as if a meteor had done a near miss with the earth and we were all had a second chance. And no matter what your political view, no matter what your ethnicity, I don't see how you cannot notice that happening and realize that something important had occurred.
Well, the bar was lifted, and all the promise that America has been promising for 400 years. Actually, we got somebody up there that was not supposed to be there. When we pay attention, the problem is that we're intimidated by the ignorance. We feel as though that's, our radio stations and our TV stations glorify the ignorance, and you almost get shamed out of doing the right thing. And I know that was the case for a lot in entertainment. I feel like it's that way in comedy clubs, and it comes a point where it's very hard to go against the grain and be accepted. You know, comedy is, you know, you can trick people. That's what the jokes are. You're tricking them. But it doesn't mean that they necessarily want to go down the road. You know, it's actually, you know, in a lot of ways, it's bubbling to the top. It's all coming out to the surface because of, you know, the progress that has been made. And I think a lot of people need to look back, especially white America, needs to really pay attention to the idea that we have progressed. Like, it's very funny. After Obama got into office, it became this whole, you know, we want our country back, and we're going backwards, and, you know, we haven't progressed, and I don't think my vote counts, and weird things that I've never heard really white America scream out. You know, and the fact is we are moving forward. You know, these were rights that were meant for everyone. You know, that's what the Constitution had promised, and it's still not. We're still not there. I mean, they're still having to deal with the voting issues that happened. People waiting in line. The old lady, the 100-something years old, and had to wait in line for 6 hours just to vote. I mean, that's someone said on the news. It's something that should happen, and you hear it happen in a third world country, not in America. You know, these are very real problems. I think that the Black community is aware of the real problems. I think, you know, the Latino community is aware. You know, we're all aware of problems that directly face us, but when it flip-flops, you know, all of a sudden, you know, everyone's kind of surprised to see it on each other's tracks, because these are problems that aren't just, you know, bound to color or bound to one person's problem. They're American problems. You know, we're looking at the violence in America now, and, you know, they're talking about, oh, well, it's mental illness, and it's mental illness of why people are shooting everybody. It's mental illness. Well, and now it's mental illness because it's in the white community. But all the problems that were happening in the Black community, it was, oh, they're just going to be career criminals.
Yeah, it's very interesting to me, Maija, that, you know, as a person that is largely identified as a comedian, that being you, like so many great comedians, there is a very, very deep and often political side to those comedians. You know, I think of, and I honor you here, you know, you're George Carlin, you know, you're, you know, David Letterman and other, many other people who have these very deep sides to them. You know, like even someone like Conan O'Brien who's just a brilliant comedian, in my opinion. And these people have a very deep and often political mind. And I think it has to do with the fact, in order to be an excellent comedian, you have to pay attention to things. You have to notice things. You have to see the things between the cracks. You have to look at what's behind the wall, behind the meaning, and not just live with what's in front of you. And it seems like that's a great deal of what you're about. And I have to tell you, I'm so excited to see what happens with Famika versus the Tea Party. I'm so excited to see what happens with your venture. Yeah, I know, you too.
But I have to tell you, it's funny because I was down over the holidays and I'm dealing with so much business. So the executive producer calls me and says, I need the footage and blah, blah, blah. So I started going through the footage. And for me to sit in the house by myself going through outtakes and just laughing to the point where I have to stop and get up and walk away to stop laughing and come back down and sit down. I'm very happy with what we have, and I'm looking forward to, you know, wrapping this up in the spring. I'm definitely looking forward to it. So, and I know you are too, because it's going to be a lot of fun. It was just fun in the process of when you came in and read, you know?
Yeah, well, I have to tell you, after talking with you and learning about the history of the film, I'm actually even more excited at the prospect of being a part of it, just because it's, you know, it's so much more depth there in terms of it's a journey. And with the new ventures that you have going on, I got to tell you, I think Ben and I want to be on your team, man. You're going places. That's
thanks.
That is exciting, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for you. You've already, you know, I kind of think about how full circle even you've come now from getting into the business because of the guidance of others and the inspiration of others. And you're now going to be in that kind of a position too, to be guiding and inspiring and perhaps launching the careers of other people. And that's a tremendous accomplishment.
I feel as though it's the key is it's a team, and artists, a lot can be accomplished when you look at creating a team with people to move forward.
Agreed. I don't think we could do our little tiny itsy bitsy show without a number of people involved. So I can certainly on a larger scale that's even more so. Well, we're thrilled that you've spent a little time on the show, and we've certainly had a little journey here from a little bio to little insights into your adventures and some laughs along the way, and then some very, very deep commentary about political issues and what may be ahead. I'm so excited to see what's ahead for you. So thanks for coming on, Maija.
Absolutely. And stay in touch. And
absolutely.
While I'm doing the other stuff as well, because
cool.
Like I said, it's got a lot of hands on deck, and music requires a lot of talent, a lot of different talented people in different areas. So
that's exciting. We're not going to let you go yet because we're going to torture you for one more minute here. And actually, the game we played today, we're not sure it's going to translate to this interview, so we're going to pull one out of the vault. And it's an easy one, but we think if you're up for it, it may challenge your improv. It's a game called Make Up a Story, right, Ben? That's what we're doing, right?
That's what we're doing.
And it's very simple. You just make up a story on the spot. As a comedian, we expect it to be side-splittingly funny. And the only context of the story is that it must contain 2 words that we are going to give you now. And that's it. It can be just a few lines. It can be an epic. It can be whatever you want it to be. We put you completely on the spot and in the spotlight. Is that okay with you?
Yeah,
all right.
I guess so.
So we'll see. It can only. Well, I'm thinking it can only be spectacular or spectacularly awful, which is funny in and of itself. So either way, we're entertained. So, so Ben, why don't you give Maija her first word?
Words are a funny thing. Why don't we go with chrysanthemum?
Really? Chrysanthemum?
It's been said. That's what's happening.
All right. There you go, Maija. Your friend Ben has just given you chrysanthemum, and I'm gonna throw hitchhiker. Hitchhiker and chrysanthemum are your 2 words.
Delicate right there, right?
Yeah, the rough and the delicate, which sounds like a recently canceled soap opera. Apparently, it's time for the rough and the delicate. All right, so make up a story, Maija. Using the words chrysanthemum and hitchhiker, the floor is yours.
Oh, jeez. Can I tell you a story about a comedian that was forced to use the word hitchhiker and chrysanthemum in something funny and had absolutely no idea what to say? I mean, first of all, chrysanthemum is like the least funny word ever. I mean, if you think about that word, there's not. I mean, even mum would have been better. Remember mum? You just get mum. You don't need chrysanthemum. You just get mums. Like mums, the mum's flowers. Are mums flowers and chrysanthemums the same? Does anyone know?
I don't know.
I have no idea. Exactly.
This is not intended to be an interactive story, but okay.
Yeah. Okay. So
Are you flailing and struggling?
Yeah. Well, I mean, a story. I'm not really a storyteller. I'm a criticizer. But I guess there's this hitchhiker that is walking into this place that's doing this radio station, and he's got a handful of chrysanthemums that he's finds this guy named Ben and shoves him down his throat. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
We just met, for God's sake.
Oh, shit.
All right, let's put her out of her misery. Right. That was a valiant effort. We put her on the spot. She went for it. The effort is what counts, honestly. Thank you very much. See, that was funny all by itself. I told you, spectacular plane crash is funny.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I was set up. It was
She
the
was.
words that were thrown at me. There was no way I can get out of that.
It's really not fair.
The next time you and me meet.
That's right. Oh, man, you're in trouble with Ben now. All right, well, she's like,
Sorry, Ben. I had
hey, Ben.
You were just a victim.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
remember
it's
that?
not the first time.
Remember that whole entrepreneurial thing that Maija's doing and the team she's building and everything like that? Yeah, you're not on it.
Well,
so,
he's just not handing out props. He's not going to be on the props list, you know?
You know what?
All right. Maija DiGiorgio, everybody, a brilliant woman and filmmaker, comedian, writer, entrepreneur, and...
Go to HollywoodOutlaws.com and then get a Roku or go to Android TV, Google TV, just the Google Play Store and get Hollywood Outlaw Comedy Network.
The Hollywood Outlaw Comedy Network at HollywoodOutlaw.com.
Comedy Network. And you can, and HollywoodOutlaws.com, and you can, like I said, go to Google Play, or if you have a Roku, go check us out.
I feel like the Roku is something that comes to life in the middle of the night. It's like, oh, did you feed the Roku? No.
You need to know. If you don't know what a Roku is, you got to go get one. They are the hottest thing in internet television.
Is it anything?
They're selling like crazy.
Anything is what I just described.
No, I think it's the wave of the
It
future.
does come to life in the middle of the night and ask for food?
It's the wave of the future. Look it up. Roku.
It's Roku.
Two words if you remember. Roku and Hollywood Outlaw.
By the way, Ben, do you remember? Did you notice how poorly Maija executed our story, but how excellently she executed her plugs?
Yes, because I'm not a story writer.
I know.
I'll write a screenplay, but who's got the time for that?
I know. So, no, all kidding aside, it was a truly genuine pleasure having you on the show. Thanks for taking the time, Maija, really. Maija DiGiorgio, everybody. All right, yeah.
Yay!
Hey, Ben.
Mark?
Do you know what time it is?
I think I do.
Really?
Yeah.
What time do you think it is?
End of show food.
End of show food. Okay, end of show food. Elsie.
She's baking, she's cantankerous, and her cat's an adjustment. She's the producer. It's Elsie.
It's time for end of show food. Elsie, what do we have today?
Well, if you recall, I said that I was going to keep in line with a theme pertaining to one of our show topics.
Yes, and you also told me before the show today that today's end of show food was going to be maybe not entirely legal.
That's right, because we have that outlaw thing going on in this show.
Oh,
so I had to think.
Very clever, Elsie.
What kinds of foods are illegal that we could actually perhaps get our hands on that wouldn't make us sick or whatever.
We're not going to have some sort of like rare animal or something, are we?
No. I wouldn't do that. That's ridiculous. Okay. But I do have a beverage that was once illegal but has recently been taken off the list.
Wait a minute.
It has recently been taken off the list.
I can only think of one beverage that may qualify under those circumstances.
Yes, we're having liquid crack.
Finally, I knew someday it would come up on end of show food.
No.
What are we having?
Well, Smarty Pants, what do you think it is?
Could it be absinthe?
That's correct.
Oh my gosh. Wait a minute. This is not only our second beverage on end of show food. This is our first alcoholic beverage.
Yes.
Wow.
But it's just a taste test.
Who knew you were such a partier, Miss Elsie?
No, I just told you it's just a taste test.
Okay. So all right. Well, oh, wow, look at that bottle. That's very, wait a minute. What is that on the label, Miss Elsie?
Haha, you noticed.
Oh my God. Ben, that's a monkey.
Awesome.
Wow. Elsie, a monkey on a bottle of absinthe. Holy cow, you don't mess around.
I'm excited.
No, I take my job very seriously.
All right. So let's uncork that bad boy.
Elsie's uncorking it.
And all right, so let's see if we can taste it here. It's very interesting. It's kind of got a
kind of greenish yellow.
Brownish. I don't
like
know.
olive color.
Yeah, like almost looks like olive oil actually, and smells like black licorice a little bit. So let's give it a taste.
If you've never had this before, guys, it's like black licorice is the worst thing ever. I don't.
It is not. Black licorice. I don't know why you say that.
Disgusting. I don't even. It's not that I mind drinking it. It's just. It's like Tabasco. It's just disgusting. It's not hot. It's just gross.
So just take yours. Take one for the team, man.
Yeah, I don't mind.
There we go.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bottoms up.
There we go.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Ugh. Wow.
That's like I said, it's just the taste. Ugh.
Woo! It's wow. It's kind of like if you mixed black licorice with cough medicine and then poured some isopropyl alcohol in it.
It's so bad. Oh God! Now it's licorice. The licorice is such a bad smell. The black licorice is gross.
Ben is hurting so much he can't even be on mic right now.
Oh God! It's disgusting. Oh.
I have to tell you, we didn't have that much, and I'm surprised at how strong it was for that tiny little bit.
60%.
Wow.
It does taste like black licorice. That's on fire.
Oh. Smooth.
You wanted me to say there's nothing positive about it, Mark.
Well,
Nothing.
If you're gonna say that, say it on mic, man.
Nothing positive about it. Brandy with herbs in my ass. It's like crap with crap. You know, they're crap.
So Ben, you did not care for the absinthe.
I've had it before. It tastes better when you're drunk.
So by the way, why are we hearing you chew something right now?
Just because I need that horrible licorice taste out of my mouth.
So you're just chasing it with crackers.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. All right.
I'm hallucinating. I almost think this. Wait, I am hallucinating. Wait, is this show actually good? No, that's just hallucination. Wow.
Well, I like it.
Okay.
But apparently Ben does not like it.
No, I would definitely say he does not.
So this was not your favorite end of show food?
No.
Okay, which was worse?
I would rather just sip vodka. That I enjoy. Or Jameson, I enjoy that.
Okay, now what was worse? This or the sardines that we had?
Those sardines those were bad. Yeah, those were bad because you didn't really know if that was going to end it with.
No, it wasn't sardines, was it? It was something stuffed olives.
Oh, like clam stuffed.
Something
stuffed olives
mussel stuffed olives.
Yeah, mussels and olives.
Is that what it was?
Some disgusting thing.
I don't know what it was.
No one should eat.
Some horrible thing.
It was terrible. So. That was a little worse because it was confusion. It was like, oh God, am I going to survive this?
Yeah. Ben is not your fan lately.
What does it have to do with me?
Nothing. It's just
he's not a fan of the food choices. That doesn't mean he's not my fan.
All right. Well, he says strike 3.
Well, I don't really care. It's been fun, and I think our listeners enjoy it.
All right. Well, I liked it, Elsie, and that was an interesting end of show food. Thank you very much for going through all that trouble and getting a special monkey absinthe.
Maybe Ben should pick something.
Maybe we'll see.
All right. Well, that didn't go so well.
No, that's all right. Guess we got to get drunk now.
All right, Elsie. Thank you very much. Very intriguing end of show food. Good job going with the themes. Maybe not a great end of show food, although good try, Elsie. And I liked it.
It was Good job, Elsie.
Yeah, don't lie. That was a fun show though, and Maija DiGiorgio. Tough name to say for me, but a great interview. Glad to have her on the show. So good show overall, right, Ben?
Good show overall.
A- at least.
A- with crackers.
The minus was for the absinthe.
Yeah, that's gonna do it. But crackers were supplied. So
all right, we'll see you next time, everybody. Go to monkeyradio.info, check out all of our good stuff, and we will see you next time with another great show. Take care, and thanks for tuning in.
Bye-bye.
If only we could have the last hour back. Please, someone invent time travel. This has been Monkey Radio.
That's it? That's the end of the show? Boy, oh boy, what a crock. This was Funny People Talking.
No portion of the content may be reproduced or published without the strict written permission of the producers. Connect with our show at Funny People Talking or at our website, funnypeopletalking.com. I'm your announcer, Peter Coleman. Thanks for listening.
This is Mouth Media Network, the business of being heard.